Welcome back to the Wizard Shop, and it's once again Porsche time at Omega Auto Clinic. We're going to take a look at this really sweet 911. Let's get started. So in previous videos, you guys have seen a blue Maserati Coupe, and then you saw a Subaru SVX, and today you're going to see the same customer's 2008 Porsche 911. This is a 997. We're happy to do work for the guy, very excellent customer, very happy to do business with him. He's actually brought a box of parts, several different pulleys and belts, a water pump and different things. He wants this thing serviced and gone through, and we're very happy to take care of it for him. We're going to check this thing over, look at the engine, put it on the lift like we always do, and talk about why it's here. Let's go ahead and start up front. This is a very beautiful color. You like this color, Mrs. Wizard?
It's lovely.
We have a black one here in the shop, and it's getting ready to head out. We really didn't do a whole lot with it, but this one would be the one to have. This is the color that I like. It's beautiful. It's in very good shape. I think it's been lowered a little bit and has very nice Porsche wheels on it. I really like those style of wheels. This one's also in very good shape, just like the other vehicles this customer's had in the shop. It has nice exhaust. It sounds really good. We'll hear it here in a minute as we go to take a look at the engine, but it is a very nice car. I'll go ahead and pop the front trunk, the frunk, whatever you want to call it, and we'll take a look in there. Not much to see here, and if you were looking for an engine under here, you're probably not a Porsche fanatic, or you don't know much about Porsches. There's the brake master cylinder and all different things, and the battery underneath all these covers. But it's pretty much just a storage area. There's the CD changer. There's the DVD navigation system. This is basically used what you would expect to see in a trunk on a Maserati or any other car with a rear trunk. They're now putting in the front trunk because it's the space they have to put it. But really not much going on in here. We're not going to be working in here, but I thought I'd let you guys see what it looks like under the frunk. Also on a Porsche, whenever you close the front, you're not done. You have to do a second click. Just like that. Let's go to the business end of the car. And you can see the Boxer engine. This is a 6-cylinder. This one is a 3.8 liter. It's a little bit bigger than the 996 engines. It also has more power. You can see he's done some modifications. Has a cold air intake and a K&N style air filter there. But otherwise it looks fairly stock under here.
Hey, Car Wizard, in previous videos you've said you don't like cold air intakes. Why is that?
I do like cold air intakes. I don't like these style of air filters where you have to oil them and service them because nobody ever services them. They let them run dry. And those filters are designed to be coated in oil, and when you let it run dry, it's not efficient and actually lets dirt through. A lot of these, with these style air filters, you can pull the airflow sensor off and look at the elements, and you'll see dust and dirt on there. Not only is it contaminating your airflow sensor, but that is also going down the throat of your engine. So I'm not a fan of the filter specifically. The air intake is cool, but the filter is what I'm not a fan of. And this also has aftermarket exhaust. We'll take a look at that when we get it lifted up. But let's head on over to the parts cart and talk about what we're going to do with this beautiful 911. So this time around, with the car that customers brought us, he has actually quite a laundry list of things he wants done. Not necessarily that anything's wrong with the car, but they're just things that he wants to take care of and maintenance the vehicle. We've got quite a lot of parts here that he's brought, and in this situation I don't really mind that people bring their own parts. It kind of cuts into profits a little bit, but there has to be an understanding, and this guy, we have an agreement. I've already talked with him about this, and he's totally cool with it. But in my shop, if you bring your own parts, you are responsible for the factory warranty or the parts warranty on the parts. There is still a warranty in the shop for workmanship, for the work that we do, but if one of these parts here fails because of a factory defect, they're not going to want to talk to me. They want to talk to you, the purchaser of the parts. So let's say we put a water pump on for this guy and the water pump goes out because of a factory defect. he will have to contact the company that made the water pump and claim warranty. Also, when I go to put the second water pump in, there is no coverage. You will pay me a second time to put the water pump in. That will be between you and the parts supplier if they're going to reimburse you for the labor. The way that you don't have to put up with all that hassle is to allow me to buy the parts, and the benefit you get out of that is if something goes wrong, it's out of your hands, you don't have to deal with it. I will shoulder the burden of taking care of all of it. But if you bring your own parts, you also bring your own parts warranty. So the parts markup that I add is not so much profit, although it is a profit. It's kind of like an insurance policy. It's where if something goes wrong with the part, you don't have to fool with it. I take care of it. There is quite a bit of time involved if there's a part failure that I have to contact people, I have to be on the phone. And I know from experience that it doesn't take very much for an entire hour to be burned up trying to chase this stuff down. And in my shop, the lowest rate I have is $100 an hour for domestic and Asian. So I just lost $100. That's quite a bit. So there has to be some payment for the time invested in trying to track all this stuff down. So a lot of you guys call, say, hey, I got this car, I'm going to supply the parts. That's totally fine here, but you have to understand, just like I mentioned, if parts fail because of factory defects, you will have to take care of all that, and you're going to pay us a second time or a third time or however long it takes for you to get good parts and bring me good parts. One more issue I've had when people bring their own parts is I don't know where they came from. I've actually gotten parts that people purchased off of Amazon. They come from China. They're very, very low, second, third rate parts. That's really something I would never sell to a customer. But if you want me to install that part, you supply the part, then you guys know the whole rigmarole here. So let's go through what's here. So let's take a look at all these parts he supplied. There's quite a lot of them. And like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with the vehicle. He just wants to take care of them and get this taken, make sure his vehicle's maintenance. So here we have an oil filter. Here's an oil filter seal. Here's an oil drain plug with a new seal, new gasket. A thermostat, brand new Borg & Warner thermostat. Here we have a new water pump, brand new, with the gaskets associated with it. We have a new serpentine belt. There's also a bunch of pulleys in this bag. It's the alternator coupler pulley. It's kind of a one-way clutch on these cars. Idler pulley, tensioner pulleys, everything's there in the bag. There's also a cable and an actuator, actual door handle. He's having some issues with the door handle on the inside. We're going to take that apart and take a look at it. There's some oil in the box down there to do an oil change. There's also, kind of spruce up the interior, here's a new shifter ball for the 6-speed transmission to install, kind of customize it for him. So we've got quite a laundry list of things to do to this vehicle. But before we start tearing into it, we're going to put this thing on the lift and we'll take a look underneath. So here we are underneath the Porsche 911, and you can see some of the downfalls of lowering your vehicle. It just has kind of destroyed some of the undershielding and scraped along the bottom. There's some fasteners missing here. Unless you're on the track and really, maybe this guy does, I don't know, but unless you're on the track and really going for track times and things, I'm not much into lowering cars, but it is what it is. So on these cars, the radiator is not necessarily in the center here. They're on the sides. There's one over here, and there's one over there. So that's where you would look for coolant leaks. You can see right here, there's a radiator hose. It looks nice and dry in there. Go to the other side. There's another hose right there. And it's nice and dry in there too. Check these wheels. Brakes. The brakes look like new. Shocks are nice and dry. Sway bar link is good. Nothing loose there. Tires look good. Good pads. Nice dry shocks. Sway bar link is tight. You can see here it has a CV shaft, so this one will be an all-wheel drive vehicle. And it looks nice, looks good. Right down the center here, you can't really see anything, but it's where you would have your air conditioning lines, your radiator hoses, or I guess you'd call coolant pipes that go all down the center through here back to the engine. You would definitely want to check along these panel gaps here for any coolant leaks or these holes. We'll take a look inside and see if we can. I see nothing that's wet or no reason to pull all this paneling off. Looks nice and dry up in there. There is a little tiny bit of seepage here. See where it's coming from. Let's see. We'll have to take all these panels off at some point, and we're going to when we go to tear into it and take a look. But there is definitely something seeping there. I'll taste it. It's gear oil, so it's a transmission leak. Probably an output shaft seal. And we'll take a look back here. This is the actual business end. Like I mentioned, this is the engine. Here we have the passenger side exhaust manifold, driver's side. Here's our oil pan. Here's our oil filter. So you can see here's the water pump, and it's not leaking. There's no issue with it. So again, I think he just wants it replaced for a preventative measure. Here's the aftermarket exhaust that we talked about. You can see that it's not stock. It's got catalytic converters and everything, but it's definitely not a stock filter. And it sounds really good. I'll start it for you guys here in a little bit and let you hear it. And before we do that, let's check these wheels and brakes. Brakes look good. Sway bar link is good. It's got Bilstein shocks on it that look fairly new. Nothing loose there. Brakes look good. Sway bar link is good. The shock is dry. In this cavernous area right here, this big heat shield, is where normally the stock muffler would go. It's a huge muffler the size of a suitcase. You can see that's been removed and replaced with small little, I don't know if those are glass pack mufflers or what they are. But that saves a lot of weight. Those things are very, very heavy. I've had those off before. It's very heavy, those mufflers. Let's go ahead and lower it down. So you got it back on the ground, and as you can see, there's little 2x6 pieces of wood under each wheel. And that's my solution to vehicles that are very, very low to the ground. You just push them up onto the wood blocks, and the lift fits perfectly underneath. It's totally safe, it doesn't hurt anything, and it doesn't cost hardly anything, just some 4 pieces of wood. The other option is to manually jack up each corner and put the lift under it, or if you had like in the floor lift with small thin arms or something like that. But this works really well. And like I said, it's safe and it doesn't cost anything, hardly. Let's take a look at the interior. So as you can see, it's got 65,000 miles roughly on it. It's in very good shape. And do you smell the leather, Mrs. Wizard?
It smells great.
It smells wonderful in here. I love that about Porsches. The dash is in very good shape. The seats are in very good shape. The seat that Mrs. Wizard in actually has like a sheepskin cover over it. Nice and soft and comfortable. And it does have back seats, amazingly. Maybe for babies, little kids.
Yeah, my 5'9" legs are not going to fit back in there.
No, it's not meant for adults, and it's for insurance reasons, I think, overseas. It has a nice Alcantara headliner. It's in very good shape. It's not drooping. It's clean. Like the other vehicles he's had in the shop, he has very nice, clean, maintenanced vehicles. Yes, that sounds very, very good. So thanks for following along on this really cool Porsche. It sounds really good too. It sounds amazing. I bet it's extremely fun to drive. So we'll get all these parts taken care of that I showed you guys and get this thing taken care of. And I have no idea what the guy's going to bring next. Who knows? It's kind of a surprise. I didn't know this guy had this many cars and really cool cars. So very happy to get in with him and help him out. If you're curious what kind of tools we use to fix cars like this, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We get a small cut and we really appreciate that. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button already, I really recommend you do that now. We've got Malibu updates, we got Junior Mint working on the Oldsmobile, and we got some yacht updates. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.